Well, welcome everyone. I'm Ed DeVoe, president of the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. I want to welcome you to another exciting episode of Lunch and Learn. Before we get started, I do want to officially thank our sponsors for Lunch and Learn. They are Proteus 420, Financial Resources Federal Credit Union, Saks LLP, Burton Trent Public Affairs, Curaleaf, Garden State Green, Dutchie, Puffin Entrepreneurs and Investors, Sprague, our energy partner, the Sheet Metal Workers Local 19, and I want to give a special shout out to the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. A great job everyone is doing. Thank you, Jenna Ray Russo, for doing today's production. And also, I want to remind everyone that next Tuesday, December 6th in New Brunswick, we are having our holiday networking event. And remember, we just don't network for the sake of networking. We network so that you can make the business connections that enable you to have a successful cannabis business. We want to thank our sponsors, Panacea Payroll, our special sponsors, Panacea Payroll. Thank you for your support and sponsorship of our holiday networking event on Tuesday, December 6th. Well, without any further ado, today's a great day. We have two very special guests that will be sharing their professional interests with us. Before I do the introduction, I just want to encourage you all once again, please go into the chat feature and in fact, share your information, your contact information. Make sure that you press everyone and use the chat as opposed to the Q&A, because I'll look through the Q&A for something else, but please do use the chat feature. So let's get started. Our first guest, I want to welcome Jessika Wood from Dutchie. Dutchie has been with the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association for some time now, and we thank you for your sponsorship and support. And so Jess, welcome. And you're on Central Time, I think, right?
I'm on Eastern Time.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yes, I am.
I was never good at my geography class.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm not too far away.
Well, great. Well, welcome, Jess, and we thank Dutchie. So if you want to introduce yourself and introduce what Dutchie is and what Dutchie does.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with myself first and then talk about Dutchie. So thank you so much, everyone, for dialing in today. It's exciting to talk about cannabis, and I get the opportunity to talk about Dutchie and payments, which are my passions. I've been with Dutchie for a little bit over a year, so I am somewhat as a cannabis baby, if you will. However, I've spent the last 20 years of my career in the traditional payment ecosystem. So working with the processors, the banks, and the networks to take merchant services payment product offerings to market through various different channels. And I came to Dutchie to really help stand up an integrated payment solution and solve the payments problem that we have in this emerging industry, because we do have such heavy regulation and compliance from that standpoint. So that's about me. Dutchie is, we provide a complete POS solution that seamlessly integrates into your daily operations. This enables your sales channels, so whether that's in the store, delivery, or online. Our software also helps you with inventory management and to stay compliant with the federal and state regulations, as they are different state by state. We have all those nuances and our experts in each one of the states, whether that's medical or recreational cannabis or combination of both. We serve all of the markets in the US, and we also serve the Canadian market as well. And we serve everyone from the small local retail dispensaries all the way up to the multi-state operators.
That's great. Thank you so much. Again, Dutchie, we see your name out there, and we see that you're very active in terms of marketing yourselves. So when we talk about compliance and pay features, look, nobody wants to get in trouble. We know that there's still this schism between local laws or state laws and federal laws. So could you share some about how you help close that gap, how you help close that chasm that exists between state operations and what could potentially happen at the federal level?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to talk a little bit more from a broader perspective, and then talk about the actual key features within our platform, whether SaaS software, point of sale. So we are very entrenched in the market. We have a heavy government relations team that is tied into Washington, at a federal level and at a state level, and we are there as a voice of all of you to help move and mature this industry, because one of the things that a lot of people say, which is kind of funny, is welcome to the cannabis industry is really welcome to the compliance industry, right? And there's really not a standard across because of the state nuances, and everyone's really, especially when you talk about like banking, which is one of the areas that continues to be a challenge for our cannabis retailers. It's really up to the banks that are willing to get in and take the risk, but then they're manually building out these compliance teams. So there's not a lot of efficiencies and from that perspective, which then if the banks aren't executing in an efficient manner, that just makes those services more costly for the cannabis retailers. And so not only do we provide a solution that helps with those things from a compliance standpoint, we also are building the relationships and trying to influence our partners, whether that's processors or banks, to really dynamically change the industry to enable you guys for growth.
That's great, yeah. No,
Which is
please.
great, right? Yeah. So more specifically around kind of, the key features of our software is that we do have seed to sell tracking within our software. We do integrate into the state protocols for tracking. I do believe it's Metric is the primary seed to sell tracking mechanism in New Jersey. So we're integrated into that. We also have robust taxation reporting because we have a full understanding of what those requirements are at the state level. So we want to make sure that that's a very easy operational lift for you on the back end. And then we also provide age verification services through our ID scanner that's attached to our POS. So those are really the three key areas that we can help you be compliant from a business perspective.
Thank you. Thank you. In fact, it's interesting that we're talking about retailers today at 1. So you can hopefully you're having some lunch while you're joining us, thus lunch and learn. But at today at 1 o'clock, the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission, the CRC, is meeting, and they will be announcing not only conditional licenses, but they will be announcing conditionals that are converting to annual. And there are a couple of annual licenses. So there are retailers that are now getting conditional licenses, getting conversions and annuals. So when it comes to the retailers, so Jess, at what point, let's say I'm an applicant, or let's say I'm in that conversion stage. At what point do I look for a Dutchie? At what point do I reach out and say, look, I'm an applicant, can you help me? Or I got my conditional, can you help me? Is there any particular time that's more advantageous than another to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question, Ed. It's never too soon from that perspective. As soon as you decide that you want to apply, really at the point of entry while you're going through the application process is really the best time to start thinking about your POS provider, because as part of that laundry list of things that you have to put together in your business plan, you do have to put together an operating plan. And one of the questions that you need to be able to, or what are the processes and policies that you need to be able to clearly articulate as part of that application process is how do you control your inventory and what is your point of sale system? And so Dutchie is positioned very well to help you with that, increase the operations plan, which will effectively yield to a higher score when it comes down to the application process. However, if you've skipped us in, that initial application process at any point in time, you can reach out to Dutchie and we will meet you where you are in your journey from that perspective and help guide you through that.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Again, retailers and the application process can be very daunting. So while you clearly have an opportunity to contribute to my application based on my POS, is there anything else that Dutchie does that I could say, well, look, I am in the application process or I'm getting ready to convert. So I'm going to give some of our viewers a head start here. So what more can I ask Dutchie for? Is there anything else that you can help me with other than just my POS system?
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned previously, we are committed to having the right relationships in this industry for the benefit of cannabis retailers. So we have partners with insurance, an insurance company that we can refer you to, so that you can get insurance for your locations. And more importantly, we have a lot of banking partners. In banking, really, there are a lot of challenges when it comes to banking the cannabis industry, and we've built strategic partnerships with national folks and then also at the state level, because we do understand that cannabis retailers do like a brick and mortar um, place to branch to actually visit. So we work very hard to maintain those partnerships. And in fact, when we kick off the sales process with you, that is one of the first things that we will ask is, do you have a banking partner? And if you don't, then we will get you immediately, in touch with one of our partners, and we will help you through that process. In addition to that, those partnerships, we have negotiated special rates for our customers as well. So you can look to get different rates than what you would going through our partnership plan with Dutchie versus going directly to a bank partner.
That's great information. And so actually, Jess, I'm going to begin the segue here because I like the idea, the notion of partnerships and the fact that you have relationships with other professional services. Just so happens that we're joined today by Duncan Delano. Delano if you're from New Jersey, Delano if you're a Roosevelt. So Duncan, want to welcome you. You're with Emerge Law. So as we talk about these other ancillary services, please describe Emerge Law.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, Jessica, that was great. Especially hearing the discounted rates on banking because it's expensive in cannabis. But yeah, so Emerge Law Group is a full service business law firm. We have offices in California, Oregon, Washington, New York, and New Jersey. And we focus on highly regulated industries such as cannabis, which we all know is very highly regulated, and psychedelics and craft food and beverage and blockchain and some others. But we can assist with any legal need that a business has from its startup phase, through to its exit. If you're lucky enough to do that. And if you get caught up in litigation, unfortunately, we can help you out there as well. But so we've been working with a lot of applicants in New Jersey and New York to follow, and have really been seeing in the trenches the struggles they're having. And a lot of it centers around troubles with banking, troubles with financing and funding their business. Especially at a time when the market, like the macro markets are very tight, and no one's really writing checks anymore, unfortunately, in my experience over the last 3-4 months. It's getting a lot harder than it was 8 months ago. And so as you get creative, I think in piecing this business together, I think a big piece of it is partnering with the right people, and other operators or service providers, like Dutchie, who can provide not just, their nuts and bolts, POS system, but, just great contacts and relationships, because I think this industry is particularly one that focuses on relationships. And so I think, that it takes a village to get a business off the ground.
That it does. And thank you for sharing that. So one of the words that binds you two at the hip, and Duncan, I'll let you answer first, compliance. Compliance is this, it's like the C word of the cannabis industry, right? It's like, oh my God, I gotta be compliant. There are state regs, there's local regs, and this is something that we probably don't talk enough about, but there's a local health department, there's a local zoning department, there's a local buildings and code official, never mind the state that actually prescribes how a building should look. So when it comes to compliance, Duncan, how does Emerge Law Group or attorneys in general, right? We're all looking to put together a team. So how would you help on the compliance side of things?
Sure. So, that I think is, one of our bread and butter roles in this business. In addition to some of those, sort of audit readiness compliance consultants out there. But what we do is just read every word that it comes out of the CRC in New Jersey here, and then read between every word, and talk to everyone that we can about what they mean, and make sure our analysis, comports with others' analysis, to try to, especially, a more mature market, it gets a little bit easier. You get a more feel for how the agency works, how they prosecute violations and investigations. But right now in New Jersey, with it in its infancy, it's a bit harder because the agencies are harder to communicate with. They're bogged down with applications, and we don't really have a fully built out regulatory system yet here. We have the first set of regulations were readopted with some amendments and some new pieces, but we're still missing a lot that is still to come. And so, I think one of our biggest roles in an early market is to just really be on top of every new rollout development and the word on when things are going to come out as well. And so again, it's a lot of networking and talking and reading.
Right.
But that's how we go about it.
Well, you're in New Jersey, so I'll see you Tuesday, right?
Yes, exactly. I'll be there.
So if anyone wants to meet up with Duncan, you'll see him Tuesday at our event. But here's a question for both of you. So Duncan, I do want you to start, and then Jess, I do want you to add on to this. So other states, right? People do compare New Jersey to other states. And I personally, not just because I'm president of the Canada Business Association, but I do think New Jersey is doing a good job. I know that there's always the wish that this could have rolled out sooner. But look, we wish this could have happened 6 years ago, right? When then candidate Murphy was talking about his first 100 days of office and legalizing cannabis. So based on your experiences going to other states, working with other states, please give us your sense of where New Jersey is, how we're doing, and those 1 or 2 points that we could do better. So Duncan first, and then Jess.
Sure. So I think New Jersey is overall doing a pretty good job, especially at the state level. I think the CRC, I believe in the members of the CRC that they kind of want the best for this industry, for this state. And so, I do have some trust in the powers that be. And I think, one thing you see in other states is they often will start out with, we see these applications and how many documents are required, and it's pretty monumental. All the SOPs, the standard operating procedures. You're turning in hundreds of pages of documents as part of your, conditional, your local, and your state application, your conversion application. And what happens is states, agencies realize they don't actually want to read all that, and so they start a little bit over regulating, and then dial back once they see, some regulations just don't work in practice. They need to get rid of those. And overall, I think you see sort of a trend to scale back a little bit the overreach that you see in the beginning. But so I think, now we're seeing them, what I appreciate about the CRC is they're moving cautiously, compared to New York, which, I think they're moving recklessly, quickly, and they're building the plane in the air. The CRC is doing it the other way, where they're taking their time and doing it thoughtfully. I think the one concern about the New Jersey program right now, at least, is the diverging interests of the state and the local entities. Because one thing that's very unique to New Jersey is how much power the localities have, how much power the municipalities have. they have a veto right over every license in their town. So you need them on board. Talking about all the stuff you have to pull together, frankly, some of the municipal, and Ed, you mentioned all this, the regulations at the local level, the application at the local level is often, more daunting, more important, way more important than the state application, which is a pass-fail one, and you can do it if you do it right, or you get the right advisors. The local one is local. It's sometimes corrupt. It's who it's putting together a huge package of like winning the town over with donating to their charities and hiring their residents. And so the New Jersey program puts so much power at the municipal level that you see some towns that don't have the resources to get up to speed on implementing a cannabis program. They tend to favor out-of-state operators because they can just hand over the keys and hope that someone who's done it somewhere else can do it again here, and they'll have that consistent tax revenue and a sustainable business in their town. And so they tend to pass over, the New Jersey startups who don't have regulated cannabis experience because they've been in Jersey. And so I think, and at the state level, there's meanwhile all these priorities and ways to promote micro businesses and local businesses and diversely owned businesses, but sometimes the cities just don't care. There are the more urban centers, I would say, like Jersey City, they love local applicants. Camden, Trenton, same thing. But some of these other towns, they just want the consistent tax revenue, and you can't blame them. And they also charge a lot for their fees. That the CRC application fees are $1,000 to $2,000, and the town application fees can get up to $60,000. So that's, I think there's the CRC, I think is they are just implementing this statute that was given to them. So, they said that when you sort of complain about this dynamic, they said, this was the agreement that was hashed out in the legislature, giving the towns this much power. So, it's something that my clients are having, trouble with navigating that because of how many towns have still to opt in and how, controlled it is at that local level.
Thank you. So Jess, your take on that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not much I can add to Duncan. I mean, that was, very comprehensive from that perspective. But I would say, just based on the experience that I've had, the states either take a reckless approach or they overburden it, with compliance. So if it's reckless, then everybody's in and it's just mayhem into already, a business that you're trying to stand up. We're seeing that in New York, or just overcomplicate it and you can never get, the industry off the ground. And I think New Jersey has done a great job of really kind of being in the middle of that, right? Taking a very prescriptive approach, at least at a state level, to enable, this industry to be successful outside of the nuances that are happening at the local level. But from what I'm seeing, across the state, you guys are doing a fantastic job, writing the book of cannabis.
Thank you. I get asked to speak on that subject quite frequently, and it's always good to hear somebody else's opinion. So what I'll ask Duncan and Jess to do, please put your email address, your preferred contact information into the chat for everyone.
Oh, perfect.
Because I do see a number of people that are reaching out to you. And so again, because we are the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, we want to make sure everyone gets a shot at doing business. So please do put your preferred contact information in the chat feature. While you're doing that, I did see a question in the Q&A. And so when it comes to things like certifications, and we're talking now about operations and operational certifications, I'll start answering that question with this, because we at the Cannabis Business Association, we have been asked to participate and lend our expertise to various entities that are in fact out there now and becoming certifying entities. So we have institutions of higher education. We have Stockton. We have a strategic partnership with Stockton. We have Union College. We have a strategic partnership with Union College. There are other groups out there. There's Raritan Valley. In fact, I just spoke at a class for Raritan Valley. So you do have a number of certifying entities that are out there that are helping applicants get certifications, whether it's retail or manufacturing or cultivation. And many of their classes are in fact very broad. And if you attend the classes, you're going to get some lessons on cultivation and manufacturing and retail. So when it comes to certifying entities, they're there. So any advice, and Jess, I'll start with you. Any advice in terms of if I'm looking for certifications, and then Duncan, you can go after Jess.
Yeah, I think in terms of, certifications, you certainly want to leverage the tools that you have here, right, that Ed had just talked about. That's not normally our expertise in terms of, the certification component of it. So we work with entities like, the local cannabis council to help, navigate, those kind of questions. We're just really more kind of focused on the, the enablement of the operations components.
Yeah, and I would say where we see this coming up most perhaps is in our like hiring plans that our clients are developing, which is both a state requirement and often a local requirement as part of the application, and showing that you're aware of the reliable certification programs in the state that are going to be churning out, the future workforce of this industry. You do need to demonstrate a hiring plan, often that allows you to focus on hiring locally. And so, we've also seen clients come up with a scholarship program where they will sponsor, or partially sponsor someone to attend a program that results in some form of certification, and it's only available for residents of that town. So it's a way to try to help prepare the workforce that will be, if you're an operator here, your workforce. And so that's where we see this certification stuff coming in, and I'm trying to follow which are the ones that are trustworthy and reliable, because there's also a lot of snake oil online certifications out there.
How true, how true. In fact, it's interesting, and I would like both of your views on this. At the association, we are really, and people have heard me say it before, that we are about the normalization of cannabis as an industry. We are about the regulated industry, that we, in fact, do not support this, I'll call it this phenomenon of all of a sudden smoke shops appearing, right, and selling unlicensed product. And in fact, headlines today, New York is now suffering with shops that sold contaminated cannabis. They were unlicensed, they were unregulated. And so when you look at some of the people that are actually trusting in the industry, patients, some of them with compromised immune systems, the regulation, the normalization of the industry is critical to our success. And so with that, Duncan, if you want to start, and then Jess follow up on my notion that it's our jobs, and the reason why you do what you do is to help us in the normalization process and the regulated process in order to protect not just the businesses, to protect the consumer. So Duncan and Jess.
Yeah, I mean, the reports of them finding E. coli and heavy metals in cannabis that you see and smell in New York City every day, it's that's very concerning. And this wild time we're at right now, I don't think it's going to stay like this for much longer, because I think especially with New York coming on, and once people start sinking millions of dollars into regulated, licensed operations there, they're not going to be okay with the continued, just black market operations on every street corner, every bodega and smoke shop and on, folding teacher tables right outside Grand Central. I saw the other day. So it's just a wild time, and it's interesting. It's not sustainable. It can't continue for all the reasons you highlighted more, but it's very difficult to address because, in some way, this market we're dealing with is a result of a oversaturation on the West Coast, and part of that's due to overregulation out there that has created this flood of product that has nowhere to go. And so they need to sell it to make ends meet. So they sell it on the black market, and it gets trucked to New York and New Jersey and everywhere else. And so in part, like, we need to regulate this, but part of the problem was in part because of the overregulation and overtaxation that has incentivized the unregulated market to continue and thrive. So it's a very delicate balance, and I don't have the answer, but I do know that, I think crackdowns will be coming, and we're seeing it already. And with news like that, it's just going to get more intense, and it's going to be probably an ugly fight. And I'm nervous and curious to see where it goes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, from a Dutchie perspective, we provide one of our mantras is to provide, safe access to cannabis for consumers, right? That is our North Star. And so when we think about our clients and the cannabis retailers that we work with, specifically, if we are offering you any of our payment solutions, we do require an underwriting process where we see your license, and there is, some due diligence that we do on our clients, because we have a fiduciary responsibility to the industry to make it better. And we can only do that together. It is going to be, it's a wild ride. I mean, the last year that I've spent in cannabis is I've never thought I'd see the things that I see today. But we still have some rough times ahead of us, I think, from that perspective. But it is our responsibility. And I think there are a lot of people in the industry that are trying to normalize that we do need regulation, but we need it with the correct balance that, serves the industry in a positive manner.
Great. Wow, guys, a ton of information in the time that we shared during Lunch and Learn. I want to thank Jess Wood with Dutchie, and I want to thank Duncan Delano, again, depending on where you're from. I want to thank you, Emerge Law. Thank you for joining me today. So before we wrap up, I once again want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Proteus 420, Financial Resources Federal Credit Union, Sachs LLP, Burton Trent Public Affairs, Curaleaf, Garden State Green, Dutchie, Puffin Entrepreneurs and Investors, Sprague Energy, our preferred energy partner, the Sheet Metal Workers Local 19, and I want to thank all of you for joining us. So at this point, Jess, closing thoughts, and then Duncan, closing thoughts.
Yeah, no, I thank everybody for the time today. I just want you to know that, we are here to be your partner through your journey, and we are here to enable your success.
And yeah, I guess my closing thoughts are, my clients are really struggling out there. And I think, some of them have had some success partnering up and sort of combining forces and expertise and combining, co-locating businesses where someone already has a property and can sublease a piece of it to another operator. So I think it's all about getting creative right now in Jersey to get across the finish line.
Well, thank you for that. And that's a great segue into New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. Look, we are the state's Cannabis Chamber of Commerce. We really would support we would like your support. We'd love you to be a member. Look, Dutchie, you guys are a sponsor. Emerge Law is with us as a corporate member. And so I want to encourage you not only to join us as a member, but look, if you're curious, come out and join us on Tuesday, December 6th, next Tuesday. Come and join us in New Brunswick. It's the middle of the state. It's the hub city. I want to thank our sponsors of that event, Panacea Payroll. Come on out, come network for the sake of your business, not just for the sake of networking. Again, Jess Wood, Jessika Wood, I want to thank you and Dutchie. Duncan,
Absolutely.
thank you and Emerge Law. Our information, we put it in the chat feature. The chat feature will be made available to those who have registered, and we look forward to airing this segment. Look, if I don't see you, please have a happy and safe holiday, whatever you are celebrating. God bless you, take care, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.